And joining us now with more is CNN political analyst and columnist for The Washington Post, Josh Rogin. Josh, you may have American lawmakers there, but it seems like China is very much taking advantage of the fact that America's attention is on Ukraine and Russia.
Well, that's right. And the entire world is understandably distracted by Putin's horrific war in Ukraine. And Chinese President Xi Jinping, Putin's close ally, is using that distraction to advance his strategy at pace. We see that with Taiwan. We see that in the South Pacific. We see that all over the world where Putin wants the world's attention, but Xi Jinping wants the world to not pay attention to what he's doing. And our job is to pay attention because what he's doing is he's rearranging the chessboard in Asia to China's advantage, not ours.
Talk to us, Josh, about the Solomon Islands, which may not be in the forefront of many people's minds, but there's something going on there. And I don't know if we have a map so we can show people exactly where they are. That should be of major concern for the U.S. in strategic terms.
Right. Well, if you're not following closely the Solomon Islands, a small former British colony in the South Pacific, you're like most of the policymakers in Washington who have been ignoring this country for so many years. But Beijing has not been ignoring it. They realize its strategic value, and they've been plying it with bribery and investment and aid and coercion. And now they're about to sign a draft agreement that could see Chinese People's Liberation Army troops on the Solomon Islands. That's way closer to us than ever before. And they negotiated this deal in secret while we weren't looking. Now the U.S. and Australian governments are scrambling to try to convince the government of the Solomon Islands not to sign the deal, but it may be too late. And this just shows you that, China has global ambitions, and they're trying to advance in many, many places, and we've got to confront them in many, many places. And we can have all of these alliances and pivots to Asia, but if China keeps scooping up influence in all of these places closer to us, then what's it all for?
Josh, we've seen U.S.-Australian cooperation increase here in recent years. We've seen that in Northern Australia as a counterpoint to Chinese influence in the region. What is the role of that, and might we see more?
We will see more. We have to see more. I think in the last 3 years, we've seen a huge shift in Australia, in places like India, all over Asia, which are looking at the situation in Ukraine right now and saying, oh my God, Taiwan could be next, and our region could be next. And, if Vladimir Putin, when he got totalitarian, full dictatorship power, he went a little nutso. What happens when Xi Jinping gets his third term and there's nobody left in China who can stand up to him? That's a really dangerous situation. So everybody knows that we need to build our alliances to support freedom and democracy and the rule of law in Asia. Everybody knows it's really important. Everybody knows that China is attacking those things, but it's tough, it's complicated, and we're way behind. And I think the Solomon Islands shows that. I think the Taiwanese know that. And we can't just afford to put out the fires that are burning now. We have to spend time making sure that we're ready for the fires that are going to burn tomorrow.
Well, what about the fires that are burning now, though, Josh? Because so much of U.S. diplomacy has been unfocused in trying to limit the support that China gives to Russia in its war in Ukraine. Any of that working?
Well, to be sure, China could be supporting Russia more. They don't want to get sanctioned. But this crazy idea in Washington that China is sort of neutral on this whole Ukraine thing, or that China could even be a mediator to help solve the problem, is not bearing out. It's become very clear that Beijing is all in with Moscow. That's how it's always been. Totalitarian dictatorships stick together. They're on the same team. We're on the other team. So it's worth trying to make sure that China doesn't do the worst things, like send Russia weapons. But we can't believe that they're going to be a positive actor in Ukraine. They've made their bet. Their bet is with autocracy. Our bet is with democracy. The best outcome is that we win and they lose.
Josh Rogin, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.